All right, y'all, we're gonna head back out into the house. You can follow me in through here.
Where we going now? Oh, we're so much higher now. Careful with the stairs.
Yeah. And again, guys, please take a seat wherever you are most comfortable in these rows in front of me. We'll be sat here for just a little bit. Yeah, wherever, guys. To my folks coming in, feel free to take a seat wherever you are most comfortable. Alrighty, guys, welcome now to the balcony level. There's actually more seats up here than there are down on the orchestra where we just were. The difference of about 1,400 seats up here versus about 1,200 down in the orchestra. And not only is this one of the best views of the space as it stands, but it gives you an amazing view of some of the intentions designed into the space by Louis Sullivan himself. And that pertains to these two murals on either side of us, as well as the central mural over the proscenium arch. So starting with these side murals, painted by French artist Albert-François Fleury, they come complete with lines of poetry that Louis Sullivan actually wrote himself. On top of being an architect, he also fancied himself a little bit of a poet, and the lines that you're seeing are from a poem he wrote called Inspiration. So over here to my left, your right, is a depiction of springtime, complete with the line, "O soft melodious springtime, firstborn of life and love." Over here to my right, your left, a depiction of autumn, complete with the line, "A great life has passed into the tomb, and there awaits the requiem of winter's snows." Now I'll ask you to turn your attention over to the central mural over the proscenium arch, painted by a different artist, American artist Charles Holloway, who actually won a contest in order to paint this painting. And he won that contest over the likes of Louis Comfort Tiffany, who was a pretty big name in the art world at that time. So it's a pretty big deal that a rather unknown muralist like Charles Holloway won out over such a big name, but when he did, and the only criteria that he was given by Louis Sullivan was to paint a painting about music and the passage of time. That was it. So what we have in front of us is called the Symphony of Time. And if you look over to the right-hand side of the painting, you'll find depictions of birth and life. Of course, an angel all the way to the right, a familial unit, a rather classic, if not perhaps slightly outdated example of a patriarchal farmer husband with his caretaker wife. We have a child riding a tiger for some reason. And over to the left-hand side of the painting, you will find depictions of death and dying. We have a grouping of sickly people, a procession of priests, all the way over to the angel of mercy or the angel of death, all the way to the left. These three figures in the center represent past, present, and future, with this central figure of present also representing growth and maturity. And we have this amazing line, one of my favorites, "The utterance of life is a song, the symphony of nature." Perhaps you guys are starting to put together a little bit of a pattern. We have symphony, requiem, melodious. I'll let you draw your own conclusions from there. So basically, what Louis Sullivan wanted us to ponder on is as we sit here and watch life pass by us on stage, our own lives are also passing us by. We are trapped within cycles, within the cycle of the seasons, the familial cycle, of course, the grand cycle of life and death. And hopefully, somewhere in the center of all of that, we can find some growth and maturity to branch the two and lead us forward. A bit of a heady principle, yes. One that requires some explanation, yes. But it's one that I personally enjoy after said explanation. However, unfortunately, that intention did not come across nearly as well as Louis Sullivan intended. In fact, what most people were focusing on after the theater had opened in the 1880s and 90s was the fact that this central mural contains nude depictions of women. And in fact, people were clutching their pearls so much over that there was actually a letter writing campaign to the architects begging them to rehire a painter and cover up these pornographic depictions, to which Adler and Sullivan gave a big fat no. Which is a great story about standing up to censorship, which has always been in the shadow of artistic expression. No? Also, if you look up, you will find a beautiful skylight that unfortunately we do not use as a skylight these days, because if we let light in through the flood windows just above these, it would reveal some of this peeling paint and just some of the damage that we're not necessarily wanting to put on display right now. The last time that was gone over was in the Grand Restoration in the 60s, so it is showing its age just a little bit. However, it is a dream of mine to hopefully see light coming in through this window. I bet it is absolutely spectacular. I haven't seen it, and I hope to someday. This glass that you're seeing is actually not glass, but a plastic recreation of the original glass, designed by the same gentleman who designed the Greek muses downstairs, Healy and Millay. One of the strategies that they utilized in order to raise the funds to restore and reopen the space in the 1950s and 60s was by literally selling portions of the theater. So they took out all of that glass, sold it to museums and collectors around the world, and then replaced it with a plastic replica. Also, while we're on the topic of the skylight, there's a deflated balloon just right there that I think someone let go during like a graduation or some kind of celebration. So as long as I'm lecturing to you fine guys today about the history of this theater, I think I do have to mention the balloon, no? Years at this point, yeah. I don't think it's going anywhere. All right, any questions before we head up 3 stories to the uppermost gallery? Sure, yeah.
This is like designed like a megaphone. The acoustics are supposed to be spectacular. You don't even need, if you're standing on stage and talking to us back here, you would not need any type of microphone or amplification. It just, the
Echoes.
sound just travels back this way because it's so unencumbered. And if one person goes under one of those arches there and whispers to the other person on the other side, you would be able to hear each other really clearly. I don't think I need to try.
Does everyone want to try? Yeah, go for it.
Just be careful as you walk.
Like this? Like the exit will go the other way?
Yeah, just go down. You can, I think, just go to the first row and just go to either side.
Yeah, you can head just like straight that way.
Oh, yeah.
No, we're not gonna go.
I'm going this way. I'm checking this way out. We got even fancier seats down there. It's old wood. This is interesting. Then all the lights are here. We gotta hold it. Hold it careful like me.
Oh my god, that's so weird. That is horrible.
I can hear the others. Yes,
Oh my god. It works?
it does. Yes, it is. Wow. I think talking like this, everybody could hear me. From down there, from up there. Yeah. Well, I've been on more dangerous things than this. So I can tell you that this is safe. If you're careful.
Be funny if you
Woo!
yeah, and somebody over there is hearing you.
This is just
But yeah, this
cool. I gotta take a picture of all these seats. The time is 10:33. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna duck under. Okay. Oh, I need to check this out.
Big fan.
We're not gonna fall. Gravity's keeping us safe. Oh, I love this. They're falling down, falling down.
Alright guys, so now we are going to make our way up 3 stories above where we are now to the gallery level. I'll give you an option if you guys would like to take the stairs all the way up until you cannot go up anymore. You can do that. Otherwise, anyone who would like to or need to take the elevator, you can come with me.
I'm going the stairs.
And if you're
Go ahead.
tight,
I need to go up the stairs.
be careful.
I'm an adventurer.
Go up those stairs, right? So, oh my god.
We just trapped.
Do we just have to climb over the seat? We just keep going up. I think we did. I think we have to climb over the seat. Oh wait.
Okay. At least I'm wearing flexible pants today. So I'm all good. Some of my pants aren't as flexible as these. But let you trek the way up. While I take my own way. The tour guide, Kevin, is going up the elevator. I'm going up. Oh, they're back. Just in time. I made my way up the stairs.
If you guys are like me and your stomach starts to turn into some somersaults up here, we won't be up here for too long, but for anyone who's comfortable enough to join me in the uppermost gallery, you can come across this walkway right here.
They're so much higher. Oh my god.
Great. I'll just ask that you guys go this way, to my left and to my right, and that no one goes into this lower section, please, and thank you. We'll make sure to just gather, go left and right, make sure everyone gets a good view. To my folks that are just now arriving out here, do you get the feeling as though you're leaning forward?
I do.
Yes, so I'm here to tell you that you are not crazy. That is yet another residual effect of that foundational sinkage. So I mentioned that all four corners of the theater did sink into itself a little bit. And basically what happened is that these upper galleries, they're bolted on either end to the walls, and they were basically pulled down on either side by that foundational sinkage, which is why you get that very vertigo-y feeling as though you're leaning forward. You get a better view of it when we're on the stage. I'll make sure to point it out. There's a nice little shallow parabola effect, like I mentioned earlier, happening with this lower gallery. So while we're up here, you get a very good view for the experiment that we were just running, which is the acoustics of the space. They are brilliantly designed, and that goes with these extending archways that create a natural megaphone shape that pushes sound up and out. Just like we were doing on the balcony level, if there was someone standing downstage center by that ghost light and they were talking up at us at a normal volume, we would be able to hear pretty much every word that they were saying. The acoustics of this space, designed brilliantly by a brilliant mind like Adler's, he was utilizing so many details in designing that, which goes with the placements of the aisles, the curvature of the seats. He was utilizing all of those details in order to make this space. That was, of course, designed long before any sort of microphone or amplifying sound technology even existed. And now I'll turn your attention to these vents on the wall right here, these golden domes, which are the vestige of the first commercially functioning air conditioning system in the entire world, right here in Chicago at the Auditorium Theater. Specifically called an ice cooling system, these vents lead down to a room deep below the stage where on the morning of every show, a sensible 15 tons of ice was delivered to the stage door, taken down to that room, chipped up, moistened, and placed in front of large industrial fans, sometimes 10 to 15 going at once. And what those fans would do is they would blow cold air off the ice all the way to the top of the building where it would mingle with fresh air and then fall like a curtain over the audience from these vents, cooling them down. So again, the first commercially functioning air conditioning system in the entire world, right here in Chicago at the Auditorium Theater. Also, I mentioned a little bit earlier that these seats up here are the seats that are original to the theater. 134 years old. And if you guys would like to, please feel free to fold them down and you can take a look. You can see at the bottom center
I'm going
a
up to the
logo
top.
gilded into the seat in gold. You'll see an A and a C, which of course stands for Auditorium Chicago. And if you can imagine being a Victorian era woman in all of her skirts and underskirts and corsets and having to fit into one of these seats, I can't imagine it was too pleasant of an experience.
Yes, this is the best place.
Yeah, you got a
No.
view from up there?
It's a very good view.
All right. That's true, but they're closed here.
Go ahead.
Okay, show of hands. Who can actually watch a show from up here?
I wish.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
You have? All right. I would never be able to do such a thing, so I respect anyone who can.
I love going up.
Sell this at every show. It's kind of at the discretion of the performer. So if it's a high demand show, where they're definitely going to sell out.
I would take
they
a
will
seat
sell
here
their
and
seats up here.
relax for hours.
It's coming up starting tomorrow, and all of these seats are sold out for every show. Yeah, every seat. Those shows are completely sold out. Yeah.
This is the highest point of the theater. This is where the best people get the seats. Doesn't matter how comfortable or uncomfortable it is. If it's a seat, it works for me. Personally, I prefer these seats over these seats.
Yeah, I do too, Tony.
The Commerce Plaza Hotel, which is across the street, is super haunted, and these buildings are connected by an underground tunnel that was in use from
I'm telling you,
1990
this
to
is-
about 1910.
Ooh, gee, my favorite
And
seats.
that walkway is not in use anymore, so I don't know, maybe the spirits of the Commerce Plaza.
Yes.
The tunnel
Yeah.
in the middle of the night.
It's been 17 minutes now. I might.
You should.
Okay. Yes.
I'll wave to the camera.
There. Literally there. My camera needs to focus on these beautiful lights.
Do you edit it?
No, I leave it like it is.
I like that. It's raw.
Yeah.
So now we can head back down. We're going to go back down to the lobby, and then we'll start our backstage portion of the tour, so you guys can follow me over back this way.
There. This is how high the legends are. Oh, we gotta be careful. These aren't easy stairs. Yeah. Just staying up top is the best.
I'll give you guys the choice again. Feel free to walk all the way down to the lobby. If anyone wants to take the elevator with me, you can come over this way.
Kevin's over the steps, this way.
Oh, I'm out of breath if I take the stairs. I can't actually talk.
I'm definitely going on down the stairs. I have a flexible pants today. So no, I cannot handle the elevator. I'd rather do the stairs. I'm all good. I'm taking the stairs. The elevator is what freaks me out. 'Cause I'm an old style guy. Oh, nobody's coming with me. I'm lonely. But it's okay. Yeah. Here we go. I'm lonely. Oh, we going down this way. Okay. I cannot handle the elevator. The stairs are my thing.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Oh, I could have done.
Fast move.
I'm going under.
Just move the thing over.
I can't go over. And I broke it. I need a job of going down actual stairs. Cannot handle elevators. I'm not scared, I just not in the mood for an elevator today. Is everybody else? I would have been lost. And here we come back to the lobby. And everybody else has beat us. Now this place has some fast elevators.
No, those are like. That's it.
Excuse me.
Okay, nice. All right. All right, y'all. Welcome back now to the lobby. Just one stop here before we start our backstage portion. You guys can follow me just a little bit over this way. I'm standing in front of the statue of perhaps the most important person in the history of this theater. This is Beatrice Spachner, who in the 1950s was a trustee with Roosevelt University. So at the time, Roosevelt University bought up this building for the grand total of $1, along with the agreement that they would pay all of the back taxes due on the building at the time, which was about $300,000 worth of back taxes. So they own the building, but they don't necessarily know what to do with it. It's just sitting here empty and decrepit. This is post-World War II, so of course we have the GI Bill in effect, as well as the expansion of the Chicago suburbs. So not only are more people attending university, but more people are commuting to said university. And there's actually a letter writing campaign from Roosevelt University students to the president, asking him to tear down this building and to build a parking garage for all of their cars. And the president, he looks at these letters and he's like, no, we won't be doing that. But he still doesn't know what to do with this building. So enter Beatrice Spachner, who has a lot of nostalgic memories coming here as a girl, seeing various types of performances, and she knows for a fact that it would be cheaper to raise the money to restore and reopen what is already here than it would be to tear it down and build something else in its place. So she takes it almost single-handedly upon herself to raise that money. She reaches out to wealthy friends of hers and accrues donations from them. She puts ads in the newspaper and accrues donations from the general populace. She literally sells portions of the theater, like that skylight I pointed out to you all earlier. And by the 1960s, she's able to get all of the money she needs to together, which is about $3 million. And she's able to restore and reopen the space in 1967, and it has been open ever since. Also, since 1975, this building is on the National Registry of Historic Landmarks, so it is thankfully not going anywhere. However, we do have this amazing woman to thank as to why we are able to tour a fabulous, beautiful Victorian-era theater today instead of walking through a parking garage inhaling car exhaust. So thank you, Beatrice Spachner, for that. For anyone who is curious, I have a photo right here. This is Beatrice Spachner right here, and you can see in the corners of the photo all of the damage that happened to the theater. The peeling paint, the ratty curtains, it had fallen into some really major disrepair. So thankfully, amazing people like Beatrice Spachner really got themselves together, in order to make this space beautiful again. So now we're going to start our backstage portion. You folks can follow me down these stairs right here. And as you guys make your way down, please feel free to look around and see some of the famous faces that have performed here throughout the years. The likes of Prince, Elton John, Bruce Springsteen, Muddy Waters, the famous Alvin Ailey dance troupe from New York City. I have a couple here that I like to call out that are not photographed. We had Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young with their opener, Joni Mitchell, here in 1969, right before they went and played Woodstock. Here is Vivian Leigh and Laurence Olivier, here in 1940, playing faded teenage lovers, Romeo and Juliet, of course, both in their 30s. And have any of you ever heard of famous Victorian stage actress Sarah Bernhardt? Anyone? Yes, I see some nods. So yes, she was a famous theater actor from, I believe, England. I believe she was English. She was a European actress, and she traveled quite a bit and toured. And she came here to the Auditorium and performed on this stage a couple of times between the 1890s and the 1910s. And while she was here performing at the Auditorium, she actually stayed in the Auditorium Hotel, which at that point was still open. And she famously slept in a coffin that toured with her for all of her stops so that she could, quote, get closer to my tragic roles. So here is a photo of Sarah Bernhardt asleep in her coffin that traveled with her. Of course, this coffin being housed here in the Auditorium a couple of times between the 1890s and the 1910s. So if you guys ever find yourself thinking, wow, actors are weird, just know it's always been that way. All right, so now we're gonna start our backstage portion. You guys can follow me in through here.
Careful. The seats are not used.
Yeah, the cheap seats right here.
The lovely seats.
Absolutely. Broken.
Ooh, a makeup room.
Mm-hmm. So go ahead and file in. Probably be a little bit tight here, but no worries.
A comfortable couch.
Sweet.
All of them.
So for my folks just filing in, this is one of the largest ensemble dressing rooms that we have here at the Auditorium. I like to show this one off first so that people can get a feel for the large companies that we're able to house here. Think a children's chorus of a Nutcracker. Think the famous Taiwanese dance troupe Shen Yun. Ensembles of 50 or more. And if we were able to go through that door, it would lead us to another dressing room, which would then lead us to another dressing room. So it just keeps unfolding, dressing rooms after dressing rooms. Please prepare to be sick to death of dressing rooms before we end our backstage portion and get onto the stage. But basically, I like to illustrate that our companies that we host can utilize everything in-house. They do not need to leave the premises for the short time that they're here. Think 24, max of 48 hours. Because we have bathrooms, we have showers, we have places to sit and do your makeup, we have places to sit and lounge, we have places for food service, we have a fully functioning laundry room and a place for costumers. Again, every single thing that they could possibly need can happen in-house. And before we go, I'll draw your attention, sorry about that, to these black marks on this light bulb right here, if you guys can get a good look at that. Would anyone have any guesses as to what that might be?
Paint?
Not paint, but close. Anyone? Anyone? It is an insider industry makeup trick, actually. So the performer that's sitting in front of here, of course, with this front-facing lighting to imitate the kind of lighting that you get out on stage, they're mixing their makeup, their eyeliner, what have you, and they're putting it onto the light bulb in order to further liquefy it, make it a little bit easier to use, and then they're taking it from the light bulb and putting it onto their faces from there. Not a practice I would personally call sanitary, but one that is utilized quite a bit. So if we are walking past any of these next dressing rooms and you look in and see any black or metallic or multicolored marks on the light bulbs, now you know what those are for. And now we can continue. You can follow me this way.
That one's
right.
broken.
Yeah, we do need to change that light bulb.
Well, all the ones are off from here. The lights automatically come on.
Yeah, they're just on a sensor so that we don't have to waste any energy.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, great, guys. So now we have entered the green room, which is, of course, just some neutral hangout space for any of the companies that come through here. We, of course, have tables for food service, lockers for personal items. If we were here during, say, a ballet performance, you might find physical therapists stationed here for any sort of last-minute injury or stretching-related needs. You also might be looking around and wondering why we call it a green room, even though this room is not, in fact, green. Does anyone know the history of why we call them green rooms? So basically, it goes all the way back to Shakespeare's time. The Blackfriars Theatre in London are circa 1599. Apparently, they had a room just off the stage that the actors would wait in to make their entrances, and apparently it was painted green. So nowadays, you will find absolutely 0 green rooms that are actually painted green, because that would be horrible, but it's just a colloquial term that we use. And you guys can follow me in through this way.
First date.
Very important. So now we're entering yet another room that we could utilize for food service, because of course we cannot take food back with us further backstage. However, one of my favorite stories that I like to tell here, just one of my favorite things that I've learned since working here at the Auditorium, is apparently when Bruce Springsteen and his band came through, one of the stipulations in his contract was that we had to lay out 40 individual boxes of cereal for him and his band. Apparently, he is a huge cereal lover, and you might be wondering, why would someone ask for such an egregious amount of cereal? Perhaps you guys have heard of other famous quote-unquote diva asks, such as the notorious Britney Spears Only Green M&Ms one. Basically, what these big names are trying to see is that the companies that are hosting them are reading the entire contract. It's a bit of a professionalism standard. So not only do our lighting people make sure that all of the lighting cues are happening at appropriate times, that the sound people are making sure that the sound and microphone levels are balanced, but also that we're reading through the entire contract, which sometimes ends in 40 individual boxes of cereal. Go figure, but it happens. All right, so now we are going to make our way through a bunch of doorways all in a row, and we're going to make our way past the entrance to the orchestra pit. Please make sure to stay a little bit close. I'm going to wait on the other side just to make sure no one gets lost, but we're about to head through like 4 different doorways, so we'll just do that right now. All right, and we're just going to gather here just to make sure everyone comes through.
Okay.
Great, just want to make sure we have everyone before we keep going. We got them? All right, great. I've left all of these dressing rooms open for you guys. Feel free to peruse them, but something I want to show you is just up the hallway right here.
It's the stage piston.
So since we're a big group, I'll make sure everyone gets a chance to see it. So I'll just ask you guys to file past slowly as you've gotten a good look. This right here is the last remaining of the original 26 hydraulic pistons that allowed the stage to be reconfigured in many different ways. And if you guys have gotten a good look, I'll ask you to just file past so that everyone can come and see it. It is quite an amazing piece of machinery. Of course, has been defunct for many, many years. They were not even utilizing these pistons by the time the grand restoration of the 1960s came around. These were hydraulically operated, so operated via water mains, meaning that they were probably pretty rickety on the come up and the come down. However, this was quite state-of-the-art technology for 134 years ago. I mentioned briefly at the beginning of the tour that Dankmar Adler, he did travel over to Europe in order to see the kind of stage machinery they were utilizing there, to see what kind of stuff he wanted to use here. So this piston that you're seeing, that you just saw, is modeled after the Budapest Opera House. However, he made his own advancements, so what you just saw was quite state-of-the-art and forward-thinking for the time. Some of my favorite things that I've learned about these pistons, apparently it was a style of the time to have the audience gather into their seats at the top of show to a completely blank stage, and then when the show would start, all of these pistons, all 26 of them, were activated all at the same time, and the entire set with all of the actors on it would rise from the depths, place itself on stage, and the show would start from there. Quite an arresting image for 1889, no? All right, everyone got a good look at it? If anyone wants to take a photo, please do. If anyone wants to take a closer look, I can keep it open. However, if everyone's gotten a good look, we can continue on. All right, wonderful. There. Do you mind if I'll just close this door? Thank you.
Can you sleep in that thing? What? Can you sleep in that thing?
I do.
Oh, for $100.
Be very comfortable.
I do it for 20.
All right, great. So we just
I'll do it for free.
For
free.
Onto the stage, and that'll just be right over here.
No, I'm to the laundry area.
For any sort of last-minute costume-related tears, adjustments, any sort of costume-related needs. Of course, a fully functioning laundry room as well. So again, just to illustrate that all of these companies, everything that they possibly could need to do can happen in-house. So right now we're about to go up to stage level. We'll make our way straight onto the stage. However, before we get onto the stage, please feel free to look to your left and see our single occupancy dressing rooms, or what we could also refer to as our star dressing rooms. So our famous faces, the likes of Prince, Elton John, we recently had John Cusack, Tom Hanks here. They would be utilizing those dressing rooms, which are of course just steps away from the stage. I've left the lights on. We're a little bit big of a group to stop for those, but please feel free to take a glance. Otherwise, we can make our way up to the stage now.
Ooh, careful. That's not worth it. I'm double stepping. To the stage. A wonderful apron. That's the room we were just in. What's it like from here? Compared to, this is where I was a couple minutes ago, all the way up there. Now that light has come
So I
on.
saved the best view for last. This is truly an arresting view. And when do we, as people that don't regularly perform on stages as big as this, ever get such a view? So a couple of things. I did mention up when we were in the galleries, that those upper galleries, they were pulled down on either side by that foundational sinkage. And if you look at the lower gallery right here, you can see that shallow parabola effect that I've mentioned a couple of times. Does everyone see that?
The
That
green
it's
light.
getting pulled down on either side by the walls, which is why you get that vertigo-y effect like you're leaning forward. Also, highly recommend looking up into the 10-story fly tower. Again, ample room for huge set pieces to be dropped from the ceiling and then rise back up again. That's what all of these ropes along this gallery are used for. So if we were here during a performance, you would find crew people up on that gallery operating those ropes like pirates, allowing the set pieces to come down and rise up as needed. Also, we did just walk through what we contemporarily use as the dressing room space. However, all of that space was of course reserved for the 26 original hydraulic pistons before they were taken out at the turn of this century about 20 years ago to make room for those dressing rooms. So the original dressing rooms up until that point were up this staircase about 4 or 5 stories. So if you can imagine being a Victorian era soprano delivering her beautiful aria in all of her skirts and corsets and then having to walk up 5 stories in order to take a rest, not very ideal.
Memory.
This is quite a great photo op. If anyone would like me to take their photo in front of it, I would be happy to do so. Of course, no pressure. This is our last stop, so I'll let you guys hang out here for just a bit before I take you back to the lobby and set you free for the day.
Ooh, it's been about an hour.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys have any last questions, feel free to find me. I will answer them. Otherwise, we can hang out here. Great photo op. Let me know if you want me to take your photo.
I think this will be the end of my video.
Ready?
This one smells like, what do we call those? Lemon candies.
Mr. Rogers was here? That's the coolest one, I think.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
They got rid of the stairs.
You see that?
And careful with your heads. We're not here to injure ourselves. We're here to have fun. Learn the secrets of this huge place. I did gymnastics for 5 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you do it front flips?
No, that's too hard. That's even harder. You performed a good one.
Alrighty guys, so that is pretty much everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any, thank you so much. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Feel free to get your stuff, use the bathroom if you need it. I'm gonna get the keys so I can let you guys out.
Thank you.